Hello, learners. Today's content is for BA English Honours Part 2, Paper 3. The topic is Macbeth, Act 1, Scene 3. The blasted heath thundered with the entry of the witches. The second witch has been killing the swine. The first is settling scores with the sailor's wife, whereas the third is ready to give wind or power to their joint efforts. The chaos is visible, and so is the hatred, curse, and the spell of which these witches are the hawkers. We find that the three weird sisters are vindictive in nature and shockingly cruel. It appears as if they are grinding and grating their teeth in anger. When the first witch says in disgust, "Though his bark cannot be lost, yet it shall be tempest tossed. Look what I have." It is a lesson to proper understanding of the play. Just as the sea captain can be tormented by a turbulence and yet not be drowned, so it is by inference with the land captain, Macbeth. He can be disturbed, distressed, and tempted to the utmost, but the external power of the demoniac agents cannot condemn him apart from his own choice. This story of the constant suffering of Macbeth is not just a pretension. The issues are far more serious than that. Here, the spectres, or the three witches, admit the limits of their powers in the face of the human beings whom they may trouble but cannot, without human consent, destroy. Shakespeare carefully makes that point before he brings Macbeth on the stage to face the enticement of the weird sisters, which he'll himself recognize at the end of his life in the play. The weird sisters do disturb the protagonist, but they cannot destroy Macbeth. He is free to accept or reject their suggestions, and thus we infer that the Shakespearean hero cannot be controlled by fate. When Macbeth first comes on the stage, the weird sisters have set themselves in his path and are lying in wait for him. They greet him with a series of all hails, which moves in mounting order through three different titles: Thane of Glamis, which he is at present; second, Thane of Cawdor, a title which we know the king plans to bestow on him, but of which Macbeth is still unaware; and finally, the great temptation of, quote, "Thou shalt be king hereafter," unquote. The subtlety of this approach is fine. They do not propose that he kill the present king and seize the power. They merely predict that he will become king, leaving it to his active imagination to choose ways to make the prediction come true. That is the core of temptation, the enticing possibility which Macbeth will eventually embrace. But up till now, he faces only the suggestion or solicitation of evil which has sought him out, and therefore, as yet, he is only in the danger zone and not yet tainted. In the moral understanding of Shakespeare's time, several stages were identified in the progress of the sin. The first was the suggestion of solicitation, the presentation of the possibility of committing some evil, an idea that may come uninvited, as it does in Macbeth. At any point after the initial stage, the individual can always say no. In the second stage, the suggested evil is considered and judged and may be rejected, or the consideration may give way to fulfillment and a mental playing with it and savoring of it. It may still be rejected, but the more the gratification is splurged, the more likely it will be to pass into the third stage as consent. Finally, if the consent is firm, it moves into the fourth and final stage as action. Shakespeare shows Macbeth moving often with painful oscillation and great distress through the first three stages in Act 1, the fourth in Act 2, and thereafter into the psychic torment and isolation of the last acts. But Macbeth is not alone in facing temptation from the weird sisters. A similar possibility is presented to his friend and fellow soldier Banquo. Having heard the greatness promised to Macbeth, Banquo demands of the awesome trio, that is, the three witches, quote, "Speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear, your favors nor your hate," unquote. Even in his demand, Banquo reveals a stronger independence of soul than we see in his companion. This contrast continues even after the Weird Sisters have told Banquo that he is both lesser and greater than Macbeth, that although he shall not be a king, he will be a father to a line of kings. The tempter or the three witches then vanish to be succeeded by the emissaries from the king. Again, praise is heaped upon Macbeth as Ross recalls the report already brought to the king about Macbeth's actions. Quote, "As thick as tail, compost with post, and every one did bear thy praises in his kingdom's great defense, and poured them down before him," unquote. There follows the final news that Macbeth has been made Thane of Cawdor. And so the first of the prophecies has come true. The reactions of Banquo and Macbeth are sharply different. Banquo at once claims, "What? Can the devil speak true?" Thus identifying the ultimate source of the portent or the omen and the cause of his suspicion. The delighted Macbeth asks him, quote, "Do you not hope your children shall be kings? When those that gave Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them," unquote. In replying, Banquo warns his friend of the dangers he foresees. Quote, "That trusted home might yet enkindle you unto the crown," unquote. Might, that is, inflame you to seize the royal power. He then goes on to explain the operation of the trap laid by the Weird Sisters. Quote, "But it is strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles to betrays in deepest consequence," unquote. Although Macbeth toys with the idea of preliminary relativism as he comes to terms with his own contradictory reactions. Quote, "This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good," unquote. If the soliciting is ill, how can it have given me earnest of success, commencing in a truth? And in the very act of posing that question, he ignores the answer Banquo has already given to it. On the other hand, as he recognizes, if it is good, why does his hair stand on end? Why is he shaken by a thought whose murder yet is but fantastical? His consideration lacks the incisive directness of Banquo's, but he still commits himself to making the right choice and refuses to be enkindled to the crown. Quote, "If chance will have me king, Why chance may crown me without my stir. Thank you.